What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and this video is actually a different type of video here on the channel, guys. Usually you guys see me doing like, Abyss related content where I don't really like talk, but this video I'm actually doing a tier list where I'm going to be discussing with you guys the best units in Genshin Impact, and in terms of like a meta perspective. Okay, this is like the characters I think that are the best characters in the game versus the worst characters in the game, and I'm going to be tiering them in the tier list. Obviously, this is opinionated, so don't come and lynch me in the comments if, I put your best character, or like your favorite character. Oh my god, my Oomphy in C tier. No disrespect or anything. It's just the way it is. If the character is not good, I'm just going to place them the way they are, man. So it is what it is. Let's hop in. Let's go over the tier list, starting with Albedo. So, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I think what we're just going to do, because we got a lot of characters, you know what I mean? I don't want this video to be too long. I'll give like a brief description of the character, and then we'll put them in the tier. So first things first, Albedo, really good sub DPS type character. He does a lot of damage off field, which I really like. I think his energy generation is really good. The EM he can give on his ultimate is really nice too. I think Albedo honestly has to be an S tier character because he is super solid across the board. You can slap him on almost any team. He can give you crystallized shields. You can put him on a mono Geo team. Like, he is so like versatile. I really like that about Albedo. And yeah, I think he deserves the S tier. Alright, we got Aloy. Aloy is C tier. And that is just a factual opinion. She's just a really bad charge shot bow. She's just a worse Ganyu. Why use Aloy if you could use Ganyu? You know what I mean? So Aloy is going to be unfortunately put into the C tier for any Aloy mains right there. We got Amber here. I think Amber, from what I've seen, like I've delved into a few of the the mains Reddits. So I've seen like a few people that are in like the Amber mains, and like I've seen their builds and all of that. Like, she is okay, you know what I mean? I'm probably, honestly, like, she has to be B tier, man. Like, I really don't see much of a use out of Amber if you can use other characters that do what she can do, but better. So, like, Ganyu, obviously, is a better charge shot character than her. She is a Pyro character, too. Not that that's a detriment. Like, I mean, Pyro is really good, but Ganyu having, like, the crit rate, because she's cryo, you run double cryo, you get the crit rate, and plus she had the crit rate in her passive, like, I don't know, man. If we're comparing Ganyu and Amber, like, Amber is a B tier character compared to her. I think, when we get to Ganyu, we'll place her in the correct tier. But I think Amber, in my opinion, is going to be B tier. Ayaka is God tier, and the reason why Ayaka is God tier, she does so much burst damage, it's insane. If you drop her burst and you like freeze all the enemies in one area, you're just gonna be dealing a ton of damage, man, and it's all super quick too. So like, a lot of people talk about the like Ganyu versus Ayaka debate, like who is the better crowd DPS, and what it really comes down to is that Ayaka can do faster damage in a short period of time, but Ganyu, in terms of over long periods of time, can do a lot more damage than Ayaka. So what it really comes down to is what playstyle do you prefer? Do you prefer the laid back charge shot with the Ganyu, or do you prefer just to drop your birds, do as much damage as you can? So Ayaka, in that sense, is like one of the best units in the game easily, because she could just deal so much damage with her team, like the permafreeze team. You can even just run melt. Like, I mean, I've seen melt Ayaka, but mainly it's just a permafreeze comp. But she does a lot of damage, man. So she is the God tier. Next character here we have is Barbara. Honestly, and this is gonna be very shocking, but with Dendro release, I have to be honest, and I think Barbara's honestly an S tier type character. Either S tier or A tier, one of these slots. So you could probably argue A tier. I think she is, fairly above Amber. The one main thing that I see that's like a problem for Barbara is that if you're, facing characters that apply any type of crowd, you can get frozen when you have the E up. But other than that, there's not many other cons I'd say like against Barbara. Her E is going to be constant healing. Her ultimate is going to be an instant just burst ultimate that just gives you all your HP. And if you run her on the Ocean Clam set, she's going to be doing, pretty good damage for what it is. So I would definitely rank Barbara in either the S or A tier. I'll probably keep it in S for now. We'll see. We might change that up a little bit later, but Yeah, I think Barbara is a really good character in the game. Honestly, underrated, and especially with Nilou release being put on that, like, you know, that bloom comp with her, like, she is so good, man. So Barbara is a S tier type character. Moving on, we got Beidou. I think Beidou, and this is like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Honestly, I think she's an A tier. Like, she's really good. I think the main problem with Beidou is that she relies on a lot of dupes. Once you get a lot of dupes on her though, she becomes really strong. And the shield she gets, scaling off her max HP is nice, like on one of the constellations. You also get like a full counter type ability, like the full counter bop. And then, yeah, she's like, you know, I'd say she's a pretty good, like, sub DPS. You kind of drop her ultimate, switch out, let someone do their normals, and you're going to be dealing some extra electro damage on the side. I don't think she's going to be, like, anything too crazy. Like, if you have the chance to run Raiden Shogun, just run Raiden Shogun over her. But, she's solid, though. She's solid. I'll definitely give her the A tier for sure. Beidou is a really good character in the game. And yeah, moving on, we got Bennett here. Bennett is going to be going into the God tier. And the reason why Bennett is a God tier character, and, you know, it is what it is, man. But for anyone that just does not like Bennett, I don't like Bennett personally. I don't like to use him. But he is just such a good character. He gives you an attack increase through his ultimate. He also heals you in the ultimate, obviously capping out at 70%. But by the time you're at 70% HP anyway, you're going to be alive. So if you're at that point of HP, like, you're chilling. And then also Bennett, he gets his energy very quickly. His E is only like a 3-second cooldown, I think, just on like the tap. So good, man. And he gives you the damage bonus when you're in his ultimate. You heal when you're in his ultimate. He is such a good unit. I would definitely put him in the God tier. And, you know, I don't like to put, you know, so much praise into Bennett, because it's just like, bro, you can use so many other characters instead of Bennett, but he is such a good unit. I have to be honest. And he is such a good unit. Next character we got is going to be Chongyun. I would give Chongyun the A tier, and the reason why I'd give Chongyun A tier is because he's the only character in the game that can give cryo, what's the word again? Cryo infusion. There you go. So he is able to give cryo infusion, make any character become a cryo DPS, and I mean, even for himself, like with like a Shenhe, can actually do a lot of damage. Like I've seen a lot of, you know, big PP damage Chongyuns with like Red Horn, so I've seen it. But yeah, I don't think he's like anything too crazy though. He's solid, but you know, there's definitely better options in terms of sub DPS like crowd characters. So for now, I think I'd keep Chongyun in the A tier. I think that's a solid placement for him though. But yeah, I think that's where Chongyun's gonna be. Diluc. So Diluc is a tier character, and the reason why Diluc is an A tier is because a lot of the problems that stem from Diluc is that his ultimate just pushes away the enemies. That is like the biggest hindrance for him, is his ultimate pushes away enemies, and you basically are forced to run him on a vaporized comp. I haven't really seen many other comps that do really well damage in terms of just damage overall with Diluc. So I'd say he's probably an A tier type character. I don't think he's like anything too crazy. Obviously characters like Hu Tao, like Yoimiya exist. Like there's a like Zhang Ling. Oh my god, there's so many good like pyro DPSs. It's hard to say, but Diluc is, unfortunately, he's kind of fallen off, I'd say, compared to the other newer pyro DPS type characters in the game. So I'd rate Diluc an A tier, and we'll leave it at that. Moving on, we have Diona. I think Diona is an A tier as well. And then the reason why I think Diona is A tier is because she does have a really strong shield. She does have an ultimate that heals you. My only gripe with Diona is that her healing on her ultimate is very slow. Like in comparison to Bennett in terms of the tick rate, it's like half that. Like, or like it's double that basically. Like double Bennett's. Like it's long. So it takes a while for you to get the healing going. And I mean, other than that, she's really solid though. Like if you don't have Zhongli, like Diona's a pretty good shielder. From what I've seen, and so I would definitely slot her in the A tier. I think that's solid for her placement. Moving on, we have Eula. So Eula, if I have to be honest, okay, I would put Eula in the God tier, and I feel like I should. I feel like I still should, because Eula is so good. But the one problem with Eula is that she's super like investment heavy. You know what I mean? Like you have to min-max for Eula to be super strong, and if you miss crits with Eula, you're losing on so much damage, man. So that's like one big problem I see. But if you can make up for the stats, she's God tier easily. If you can make up for the stats and make your Eula crit like all times, she is God tier, man. So I don't know. It's definitely a toss-up, but I would say for now I'll leave Eula in God tier. She's really good though, man. Like if you guys have seen my video on Eula where she nuked the Nobushi, I forgot his name. Bro, like I forgot his name. Oh my gosh, the Nobushi in Inazuma where you test damage. I forgot his name, but I nuked him and I did like 480k on my ultimate. But it took me multiple attempts. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like if you don't have like good crit rate on your Eula, she's just not gonna crit. She's gonna do like no damage. So, but I would say if you have her built, and I guess like what I'm going off of here is like if you have the character built anyway. So yeah, I'd say she's God tier. That's enough talking about Eula, man. She's the GOAT though. Moving on, Yanfei. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have not had much use with Yanfei. I have seen that she can be a pretty good DPS, but she's not anywhere close to being like a Xiangling or a Hu Tao. So I'm gonna give her the B tier. If there's any Yanfei mains out there, let me know how good she can be, because she's probably, you know, could be really good. And obviously this is super, you know, subjective because it's a tier list, but you know what I mean, guys. I think Yanfei is not really like played too much, so I'd say she's the B tier. Next character we got going on here is gonna be Fischl. So Fischl, it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Fischl is so good, and I don't even have my Fischl built like that, but I think she's such a good character. For now, I'm gonna keep her in the S tier. I think Fischl is a really good character in that she's able to charge your ultimates on your character. She's kind of like Albedo but Electro, right? Where she could drop the Oz off the field, and the Oz is just going to be dealing electro damage, charging your ultimates of the characters you have on field, and you know she's able to deal a lot of damage doing it. So I think Fischl is going to be a very solid character. There's a lot of electro characters that have high energy costs, and so they need like a really good battery, and Fischl becomes such a good battery for a lot of these characters that, you know, I think she's deserving of at least S tier in terms of what she can do. Moving on here, we got Ganyu. Ganyu is in the S tier. We all decided, I mean, there's no ranking, by the way, in the tiers, guys. I'm literally just putting them on the tiers. So, forgot to make note of that, but no rankings within the tiers. Whoever's like, you know, wherever they are, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I think Ganyu is in the S tier. Same situation as like Ayaka, as I was talking about. Like, you know, Ganyu is the long-term type DPS, where Ayaka is just burst damage, as fast damage as you can get, right? So I think she's fairly solid there. So that's going to be the Ganyu right there. Moving on, we got Goro. I think Goro is going to be A tier. He has his niche on Mono Geo teams. Other than that, you're not running Goro. So that's basically it. If you're running a Mono Geo team, he's obviously God tier. But, you know, if we're being like completely honest, he doesn't have too much use other than a Mono Geo team. So you're not going to be seeing him anywhere else, really. I think A tier is a fair spot. You could probably even argue like B or C just because he only has Mono Geo usage, but he's so strong on Mono Geo that I have to give him at least the A tier. He's really good, man. Moving on, we got Hu Tao. Hu Tao is in the God tier. She's broken. If you guys have used Hu Tao, even C0 Hu Tao is still really good too. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you need C1. And like I've been using Hu Tao for a while on C1, so I'm not used to running her on C0, but I've seen people run her C0 and still do tons of damage. It doesn't, like, you don't need to have C1. Like C1 is just, it just makes your Hu Tao that much better, you know what I mean? But C0 Hu Tao is still very strong. You run her with Sing Shou and she's gonna do a lot of damage. And you run, like, you know, if you have Yalan as well, you can run her with Hu Tao, and she's very strong, man. So gotta give her the God tier right there. Very good character, and yeah, that's gonna be Hu Tao. Ito. So Ito, I'm gonna say, okay, Ito like can be one of the strongest DPS characters in the game. I have to give him that. But in terms of, like, you know, it's hard to say though, man. I'm kind of restrictive a lot with these characters anyway too, so I'll just say Ito's God tier because I know he can deal a lot of damage. But I would argue that you could put Ito in the S tier because he has to be reliant on a Mono Geo comp. If you don't have Mono Geo with Ito, then, you know, you're not really gonna, like, you have to run him with Goro. You have to run him with Albedo. Like, that's like the necessities you need when you're running Ito. And so, in my opinion, it's either a God tier or S tier, but because of that, where you're like kind of force running full Geo, I'll say S tier. I'll say S tier. I'm gonna like contradict myself, but I'll say S tier for now. We'll talk about it later if I come back to him, but yeah, that's gonna be Ito right there. Kaya, I've seen Kaya builds, and he can be very good. I just don't see the reason to run Kaya over like other characters. He is a very good cryo sub DPS though. But I do think Chongyun is a little bit better though. Like, if I was to choose either Kaya or Chongyun, I would definitely choose Chongyun. But yeah. That's gonna be Kara right there. Kazuha, obviously a god tier. Kazuha, literally, you do the sucky E, you do the ultimate. Kazuha is so broken, man. He has to go in the god tier. Kazuha literally is giving your team 40% elemental damage bonus, depending on the infusion of whatever element you infuse. So like because of that, that's automatically like really strong support. And the fact that he's in the Anemo unit, so he can scroll all these abilities. You're running him full Viridescent, like he's gonna be so strong, man. And even Kazuha with Dendro release, like he is still super strong even on like a Bloom team, let's say. I've seen a lot of usage out of him, and so I gotta give him the god tier. He's broken. You guys know Kazuha, if you have him, he is a broken character. You could even argue that Kazuha is the best unit in the game, which fair play. If you want to argue that, you know what I mean, like you could definitely argue like Kazuha is up there, man. He's broken. So that's gonna be Kazuha right there. Next character we want to go over is going to be Keqing. I actually think Keqing is an S tier character after Dendro release, and the reason why I believe this is because Keqing on an aggravate team can deal so much damage. If you guys have seen my video, which I don't know if I have it posted yet. I think I do. I think I do have my Keqing video posted, but if you guys see my Keqing video, I have her on level 3 normal attack talent, bro, and level 6 on the E and the ult, and she's dealing like 11k. And then does like a 23k charge attack. Like it's crazy. Like Keqing is broken when you have her with Dendro, and because of that I'll say she's S tier. Like when she's with Dendro, she is very good, and off of my testing, like with her, like just a broken unit, man. Like absolutely broken. So I gotta give Keqing the S tier right there. She's really good, man. If you guys have not tested her out with aggravate, like definitely give her a try. Like even on low talent levels, she can still deal tons of damage, so I would highly recommend it. Moving on here, we got Klee. I think Klee is probably going to be in the A tier. You know, she's a pretty good Pyro DPS, but she's not like as crazy as like Hu Tao, Shang Ling, like those types of characters. I think she's, you know, fairly good for what she can do. And I know I think it's Constellation 4, she becomes a support type unit. So that's pretty good. But I mean, other than that, a lot of you guys are probably going to have Klee C0. So she's not going to be doing too much damage. She's obviously fairly good. Like you'd run her with like Sing Shou and do like a Vaporize comp, but I don't think she's gonna be like too broken. But yeah, that's where I'd rank Klee. I don't own Klee myself, so if you guys have any opinions on Klee and where you'd rank her in the tier list, let me know. But yeah, that's gonna be Klee right there. Kokomi. So the thing is, I have Barbara in S tier. If I have Barbara in S tier, Kokomi should probably go in the God tier, right? Yeah, I feel like she should. I'll give Kokomi God tier with Dendro release. She's broken. So the reason why I think Kokomi is so good is because she does everything Barbara does, but better. So she doesn't have to have the E where it like follows her. She drops the little like jellyfish in wherever she's at, and that's gonna pulsate, do hydro damage, and also just heal the team, which is really good. And then, you know, her ultimate's gonna make it so she does like super fast attacks, and with the Ocean Clam set, she's just super broken, man. You know, very versatile. You can run her on a lot of teams. I'm actually like, next time she comes back, I'll probably summon for Kokomi. Like that's it's crazy, bro. There's so many characters that like I have like a few characters I don't own on my account, but Kokomi is one of them where it's like, if I had her, bro, like I would run her. You know what I mean? Like I would definitely run that unit on a lot of the comps I have. So yeah, Kokomi is really good. She's just a better Barbara. If you guys like use Barbara in like Dendro comps or like, you know, Hyper Bloom, anything like that, like you'll know Kokomi is really good because she's just a better version of Barbara. So because of that, God tier, we gotta be honest, Kokomi is very good, especially after Ocean Clam release, like and Dendro and everything. Like she's just so good. Lisa's gonna go in the A tier. So I've seen main DPS Lisas with like Yamiko's weapon, and they go crazy, especially with aggravate now. Like she can be very good. I mean, I'd have to do like my testing and stuff, but I don't think she's gonna be as good as like Fischl in terms of Electro, or even like Keqing. Like Keqing deals a lot of damage, so it would be hard for me to rank Lisa any higher than A. I think A is a fairly good spot for her though. She's really good if you can make her main DPS, but I think you could run her probably sub DPS Electro, and she'll do pretty good. Yeah, that's gonna be Lisa right there. Moving on, we have Mona. Mona, it's hard to say for Mona, man. I really like Mona, and I think she's really good too, and she has a lot of use. I don't know, man. I'll put Mona in the A tier. I think Mona is like a really, really strong character, but the problem with Mona is that Kokomi does what Mona does, but she can heal. Mona obviously does increase your damage with her ultimate, but the thing is with that is like, it only really works on like a perma freeze team. Like obviously it can work on like a nuke, but you're not really usually going for nukes, especially in like Abyss. You know what I mean? You're usually just dropping her ultimate on like a Morgana comp, like while all the enemies are frozen, and then you're just like charge shotting with Ganyu. Like that's like the most usage I've seen from Mona. But obviously she could be very good, but I do think that the only real thing she has going for her is Thrilling Tales and her ultimate. I think that's like the main thing, because her E is literally Kokomi, is just worse. But yeah, I mean, she's still very good though. Like I love Mona as a character, so I would honestly like probably put her God tier, but if I have to be honest, meta terms, she's probably A tier. So yeah, she's very good though. Ningguang. Ningguang is actually pretty good, but it really depends. Like, and it's honestly on like your usage with her, right? I don't think she's as good as anyone in A tier. I think Ningguang is unfortunately a B tier, and the reason why is because she does increase your Geo damage, but she doesn't scale off of defense. So if you're running her on like a mono Geo comp, she's not really optimal on a comp like that. And even on like other comps where you would want to use like you know, a sub DPS like Geo type character, you would just use Albedo, because Albedo is going to be giving you EM and he's going to be doing off-field damage, while Ningguang gives you the little like barrier you can run through for Geo damage, but it's not too crazy, right? Like it's good, but it's not too crazy. So yeah, I'd give Ningguang the B tier. You know, any main DPS Ningguang players, let me know. I used her like a little bit when she initially released, but yeah, nothing too crazy in my opinion. Yeah, okay, next character we got Noelle. I have to say, and this is a very hot take, but Noelle is broken on main DPS. If you guys run mono Geo Noelle, you guys know how broken she can be. She honestly, in my opinion, the only thing she lacks in her kit is energy generation. Other than that, she deals good damage. She has a shield, right? You can depending on your dupes with Noelle, if you have C6 Noelle, she can start like, you know, after every enemy you kill, she's going to increase her ultimate duration, and her ultimate scales more on defense when you're at C6, and you can heal, and you can, you know, you can deal tons of AoE damage. Like, she's so good, man. In my opinion, I think Noelle is definitely an S tier unit. The problem with her is that she's very, you know, you can only run her on mono Geo. That's literally it. Like, if you're running Noelle, you're running her on mono Geo, and that's it. But when she's on mono Geo, she's so good, man. I have to recommend Noelle. If you guys have not built a main DPS Noelle, give it a try, man. Red Horn is her weapon. You know what I'm saying? So yes, for any Noelle mains out there, I'm part of the Noelle mains. Yeah, moving on, we got Jean. I think Jean is Jean is actually very good, but it's hard to say, man. I'll say she's S tier, because she's not like, if I'm putting Barbara S tier, I think Jean has to be S tier too. Like, Jean is really, really good, man. She can provide off-field healing. If you have 4 dupes on her, she can shred Anemo resistance. And, you know, she's a really good battery for any Anemo type character. I run her with my Xiao, and I do, like, the double Geo, double Anemo. And, like, that's probably, like, the best team I run with Jean. And she just does solid, you know, solid damage there. And she's a really good healer. She gets the job done for that. She heals on her normals. Whereas the next character we're going to talk about, Chi-Chi, only heals on her normals when you use her E. But yeah, I have to give Jean the benefit of the doubt. Like, when she's doing her attacks, like, she heals a lot, right? And yeah, I mean, you can also do that build where you do like the you hold the characters in the air with her E and like shoot them in the sky, like that. You can definitely do that too. So yeah, I think Jean's a very fun character. She has to be S tier in my opinion. I would say she's better than all the characters in A in terms of usage. Like, I would probably use her over all of them. But yeah, she's very solid, and there's a lot of teams you can run her on to, running Viridescent. Like, she's really good. So that's gonna be Jean right there. Chi-Chi is gonna go in the B tier, and the reason why Chi-Chi goes in the B tier is because in terms of her healing, she only heals on her E, right? She only heals on her E. Her ultimate is an instant heal, that is true, but her E on her, when you use her E, it's kind of like Barbara's, where it does like a little like tick, but you have to attack the enemy too to get more healing when you have the E up. So I don't really think it's too crazy. She's cryo as well, so, you know, in terms of like a sub DPS cryo character, you're not really gonna be running her. But, you know, she can get the job done. Ocean Clam definitely gave her a pretty substantial buff in terms of what she's able to do. But I don't really see much use for Chi-Chi when you could just use like Barbara or Kokomi. Or like, yeah, like or even like Diona. Diona is just a better Chi-Chi, man. Like if you guys have used Diona, just use Diona, man. Just a better Chi-Chi. But yeah, that's gonna be Chi-Chi right there. Razor. Razor's probably like A tier or B tier. Probably B tier. I haven't gotten much use with him, but I know on a physical DPS team he can be very good. And because he's Electro, he's able to provide himself the Electro part of the Ice Electro reaction Superconduct, and Superconduct does lower enemies' physical resistance, so he's able to deal more damage. I just haven't gotten much time to play with Razor, but he could definitely be A, S, or I don't know about God tier, but maybe A or S tier. But for now, I'll put him in the B tier. I haven't really gotten much usage as I've said, but I think he's a very solid character though. If you run him on a physical team, you could run him with like Rosaria, which I'm about to talk about. You run him with like Rosaria, Zhongli, and he'll be like a bootleg Eula. You know what I mean? Like he'll be solid. Yeah, that's gonna be Razor right there. Moving on, we got Rosaria. Rosaria has to go in the A tier, in my opinion. I think Rosaria is a very good character because she's able to give your team crit rate. She can act as the second character for crowd resistance, or not resonance. And her ultimate actually does pretty good chip damage. Like even having like, you know, low crit damage. Like mine has I think like 100 crit rate, 60 crit damage, and she still does fairly good damage. So yeah, I gotta give her that. Rosaria is a very good character. If you need crit rate on any ice character, Eula specifically, if you need Eula crit rate, run Rosaria on the team. You won't look back. You'll see Rosaria and you'll be like, damn man, look at how much crit rate I have on my Eula now. It's very good. Like since I've used Eula with Rosaria, like them together, it's just been such a good combo. So I would definitely recommend using Rosaria, especially if you need your characters to crit. Yeah, she's very good. She's very good. Moving on, we have Sara here. I think Sara is going to go in the A tier, and the reason why is because she's super niche in that she's only buffing Electro characters. Any other character that you use with her isn't really getting a buff, I don't think. They might though, they might. I'm not too sure actually. Is she? I think she's just Electro support though, right? She could just be an all-around attack buffer, but I don't see like much usage from her specifically when you could just use Bennett, right? Bennett literally does everything Sara does, but just better. Like he can heal, he can give you the attack buff, a lot of the stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think Sara is pretty good, but she's mainly relegated to like a Raiden Shogun type team, or like a Kaching team, or any like Electro like hyper carry. You're probably gonna run Sara with like, and she does her job in that team though for sure. So yeah, that's gonna be Sara right there. Sayu. Sayu's a healer, a Nemo healer. I would say Sayu's probably B tier. I have not gotten much usage with him myself. Or with her. Yo. Yo. Sayu is a female, yes, okay. With her, I've not gotten much usage with Sayu. Just because she, you know, she doesn't really do like crazy damage. Obviously she's not meant to be a damage dealer. She's meant to be a healer, a Nemo support. But she, you know, compared to other Anemo supports, Jean obviously does the job better. Kazuha in terms of buffing the team and everything like that, like he's just gonna be a better, you know, Viridescent user. I don't really see much usage out of Sayu, so we're gonna leave Sayu in the B tier for now. Yeah, I think that's a solid spot. Right, I think that's a solid spot. Moving on here, we got Shenhe is gonna be, or Shenhe. My pronunciation of of the Chinese characters in Genshin Impact, definitely not my strong part, but Shenhe or Shenhe, I do think she's gonna be an A tier character because she's super niche, only allowed to be on crowd teams. But when you do use her on a crowd team, she can be a very, very substantial buff. Like her with Ayaka or her with Ganyu, like bro, it's over. If you run them together, broken character, very, very broken. So I would recommend Shenhe if you're running a mono crowd comp. But she could be very good on it, or not even like mono crowd, just like a crowd DPS. Like if you're running a crowd DPS, like definitely use Shenhe. She's very good. Moving on, Raiden Shogun, bro. I'm just gonna put her here just because, but like it is not ranked in the tiers, but in my eyes, she's like, you know, in the tier maker slot. But Raiden Shogun is such a good character, man. Charges your team's ultimates. Can deal a ton of damage. If you have her at C2, she becomes a main DPS. I even use her main DPS at C0. Like, she is so strong. If you have Raiden Shogun, you know, guys, I don't even need to tell you. If you have Raiden Shogun, she is broken. So I highly recommend it. God tier character in my opinion. And yeah, she's very solid. Moving on, the next character we got is gonna be Sucrose. I'm gonna give Sucrose the S tier. The reason why I'd give Sucrose the S tier is because she is literally, like, if you don't have Kazuha, run Sucrose. Literally. If you do not have Kazuha, run Sucrose. That is my best recommendation. She is literally just a very watered down Kazuha, but she is very good in her own rights though. You can run Thrilling Tales, so you can get an attack buff as well. So when you drop her ultimate, you can switch out, and then like the character you switch into will get the Thrilling Tales buff, and you're also shredding the resistance with Viridescent. So she is actually a very good character. She gives EM to the team as well. I have to give Sucrose the A tier. She's a very, very good character, and I highly recommend using her. She's really good. Tartaglia or Child? Hard to say. I think Child is better than Diluc though. Child is better than Diluc. I'm gonna give Child the S tier, and the reason why I give Child the S tier is because when you run him on a Vaporized comp, he can do a lot of damage. I've not tested him on like a Bloom comp or Hyper Bloom, but I feel like he'd be really good on that too. Electro Charge seems like another good team he could be on too. But Child is really good on Vaporize. If you run him Vaporize, he can deal tons of damage. If you run him with Kazuha, Bennett, Xiangling, it's just insane amounts of damage you're able to deal, and I highly recommend giving Child a try. He's very good as a unit for sure. That's going to be his placement right there. Toma, it's hard to say, man. If you're running a shielder, I would not recommend running Toma over, like, you know, Diona, let's say. Diona is definitely a character, like, for shielding, the best 4-star shielder at the moment. Layla's not out yet, but, you know, at the moment, Diona is the best 4-star shielder. I think Toma is a little bit lacking in that department, because his ultimate is his shield. And because his ultimate is his shield, you're not able to, you know, just always reapply it. You would have to get, like, you know, charge his ultimate so you could get his burst on cooldown, and you know that can become a hindrance. He's Pyro as well, so you don't necessarily need a Pyro shielder, right? I mean, like, Hu Tao could use her, or could use a Toma, but why run Toma on a Hu Tao team when you can run Diona for like a melt, right? Or you could run Zhongli and you could res shred. So that's what it really comes down to. I think Toma is B tier though. He's solid if you do build him enough, but I don't think he's going to be as good as like Diona or even close to Zhongli in terms of shield strength. So that's going to be Toma right there. Venti. Venti, bro, I have to say Venti's god tier. I have to, because Venti, like, for what he's able to do, his main job is to pull all the enemies in the area together and just deal a ton of damage. And he's able to do that. If you swirl an element in Venti's ultimate, he's going to just deal so much damage. He's going to charge the ultimate for that character. He's going to, you know, just, like, it's just insane, man, what Venti's able to do. Even on Morgana comp, he's really good. You can run him on, like, Pyro, Electro, any team, and he's solid. Obviously, Kazuha is a little bit better nowadays in terms of the meta and in terms of, like, the Abyss cycles because of the enemies, but I still think Venti's solid. You can still hit Nobushis with his ultimate. You just can't suck them in. You can still hit them. So, you know, for what it is, I think Venti has to be in the god tier, because his support and what he's able to provide for the team is still, like, to this day, very solid. I have to give him the god tier. So that's gonna be Venti right there. Moving on, we have Xiangling, god tier unit. Obviously Xiangling's god tier. The reason why is because she's the best Pyro sub DPS in the entire game. No other character that's doing Pyro sub DPS damage is beating Xiangling. She, like, the Pyro NATO she has deals so much damage. You know, if you're running Child with Xiangling, Xiangling is the main DPS. Xiangling is the main DPS when Child's doing his attacks, right? So I just like completely recommend you running Xiangling. The moment her bear you know, disappears as well, you get an attack buff. Like, she is just so good, man. Like, if you guys have tried like Raiden national team, you'll know how strong Xiangling is as a sub DPS, and even as a main DPS. I've seen main DPS Xianglings do the work, and she can get the job done for sure. So I would highly recommend building Xiangling if you haven't already. Very, very strong 4-star character in the game. Moving on, here we have Xiao. I'm gonna give Xiao the S tier, and the reason why I give Xiao the S tier is because he is very reliant on his team. Xiao alone is very he's very hard to play with alone, but when you do have strong characters on your team, and I mean like strong characters, guys, I mean like Albedo, Jean, Raiden Shogun if you want, Zhongli, you know, Bennett, or there's a lot of characters that Xiao needs to perform well, right? If you don't have those types of characters with Xiao, he's not going to perform as well as you'd think, right? So that's just my opinion right there. But I do think Xiao is going to be in the S tier right there. Sing Shou, meta-wise, he is S tier. Broken unit. His application of Hydro is so good, man. It's super, super good. And, you know, what he's able to do and provide as a 4-star is a lot. He gives you damage reduction. He can heal you with his rain swords. The rain swords deal tons of damage. The more dupes you get, you just increase your hydro damage overall. Like, he is such a solid character. If you guys have run like any rated national team or like, you know, any international type team, like, he's always on there dealing so much damage. So I have to give him the god tier. He's super broken. If you've used him, you'll know, right? And yeah, that's gonna be Sing Shou's placement. So right here we got Jin Yan. Jin Yan's probably gonna go into the B tier. She can be a fairly decent shielder, and she's not bad to run with like Eula. Initially I was building her to run with Eula, but she is, I think from what I've heard, she's bugged. And also, you don't necessarily want a Pyro character with Eula. You'd more want to go with an Electro character to apply Super Conduct. Or even like you know, like a shielder like Zhongli where he can res shred. But yeah, I mean, she's fairly good. If you run another Pyro unit, like if you run like Bennett, Xinyan, Eula, like that could be a really good comp. But she's mainly gonna be like a shielder support. But you can also run her main DPS and she'll be okay, but she's not gonna be anything too crazy. She's not Noelle, okay? She's not Noelle, not even close. But she's very good though. Next character we got is going to be Yae Miko. I'm going to give Yae Miko the S tier. And the reason why I'm giving Yae Miko the S tier is because with Dendro release, she does so much damage, man. Her off-field support damage is really, really good. I wouldn't say like, it's hard to say like who would be better. Like what do you like? Fischl versus Yae Miko. It's hard to say in that like debate of who's better. Fischl definitely generates more energy at C6 compared to like a C0 Yae Miko. But when Yae Miko starts getting her dupes, she can do the same thing as Fischl, but way better. And her ultimate's gonna be a really big chunk of her damage when she does the boom, 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 and she just does a lot of damage. Like on Dendro comps, she's very strong. And I think because of that, she has to be in the S tier. She's a really good sub DPS, Electro sub DPS. So I have to give her the S tier. Next character we got here, guys, is going to be Yoimiya. I think Yoimiya is going to go into the S tier, and the reason why I think Yoimiya is S tier is because she's able to deal a lot of damage. I think the main hindrance for her, she probably requires a shielder. You can run her obviously with like a Bennett comp, and she'll do really well. Yeah, I think like if I was to pick between like Hu Tao and Yoimiya, I'd definitely take Hu Tao over Yoimiya. But she is a very, very good character. I love the aesthetic. And yeah, I think she's really, really good. Like, if you don't have Hu Tao and you have Yoimiya, like, you don't need Hu Tao. Like, Yoimiya is that good. Like, you can have her and she'll get the job done, right? As a main DPS Pyro character, she's really good. But I just, like, if you add both Hu Tao and Yoimiya, you're most likely going to use Hu Tao over her because she's just able to deal a lot more damage, right? So that's going to be why I have her in the S here, but she is still a very, very strong character. Moving on here, we have Yunjin. Yunjin's gonna go in the A tier, and the reason why is she is a normal attack support. She has a niche where she's only normal attack support. You run Yunjin so that you drop her ultimate, and then you switch into a character that does a ton of normal attack damage, and they're gonna deal a really, really, like, you know, it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage, right? Like Yoimiya obviously uses her, Ayato, like even Ito, Noelle, like even on a mono Geo comp, like she definitely has her uses, but only for a normal attacking team, right? That's the problem with her, is that she's only able to be used on a team that needs normal attack damage. So that's why I'd put her in the A tier. She has that niche, but other than that, she's not really going to be doing much. But yeah, that's going to be Yunjin right there. Zhongli has to be in the God tier. Zhongli is the best shielder in the game. He has universal resistance shred when you drop his shield. His ultimate is a petrify, which freezes all enemies basically for like 5 seconds, I think. Super, super good, man. Zhongli is broken. If you guys have used Zhongli, you'll know. You don't even need a ton of HP with him. You get him like level 8 talents. You can have like 30k HP, 35k, and he'll be fine. You can run, you know, you do the E, the whole D, 10-second cooldown. You get your E back, reapply it. You have the shield back up, and you just can't die. When you have Zhongli on your team, you can't die. No matter what, you do not need a healer with Zhongli. You bring him, you hold E, and you're just set, man. You're literally set. So that's gonna be the Zhongli right there. Ayato, I'm gonna give the A tier. Same situation as Child. I think he's very good on a vaporized team. He can also be like really good actually with Yunjin too on like just like you know, like attack speed build, I guess. But no, he's pretty good. You mainly run him vaporize. I actually use him in Bloom and he's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say he's like on the same level as Child, if not a little bit better in my opinion. But Child actually just does a lot of damage too, so it really just depends on the teams you're running. Yeah, I think Ayato's playstyle feels a lot more fun than Child, but he's very good though. I would definitely recommend if Ayato does rerun, you guys really like you know, the Japanese sword type style, like him and Ayaka are very, very cool. So A tier there for Ayato. Kuki Shinobu, I'm gonna give her the A tier. She is a okay healer. She's an electro healer, by the way. She also can support your team a little bit as well, I think, with a little bit of EM. I'm not exactly sure how her support works, but with Dendro now in like Hyper Bloom being a thing, or even Aggravate, she is really, really good. From what I've heard, like she's able to, you know, she can do a lot. Even with like Nilu's weapon now, because she does scale off HP for healing. If you give her Nilu's weapon, like she can be broken, man. So yeah, like Kuki Shinobu, very good. But she has the niche in that she's an electro healer, and that, you know, she's not going to be better than like, you know, Barbara or Kokomi, in my opinion. Even like Jean, I think those are just better healers, in my opinion. But she's still fairly solid though. So that's going to be Kuki Shinobu. Yelan here is going to be in the S tier, or God tier. She's broken, literally just a Sing Show, but better in my opinion. What she's able to provide for the team, the damage. You can just run them together too. Yelan, Sing Show, run them together, and you have double Hydro, increased HP on a Hu Tao team. Boom, you beat the whole game, man. Like she's broken. Like Yelan is super broken. I'm kind of mad I missed out on her because I did skip her banner. But when she does rerun, I will definitely you know, give her a shot for sure. She is very good. So yeah, Yelan's gonna go into the God tier. We'll move these extras over to the far right there. Heijo, I think it's hard to say because I've seen Heijo work, but he's not really necessarily like, you know, the best in the game or anything. He's solid, and he has like a niche where he's like an Anemo main DPS, but it's obviously not like Xiao. Xiao is different in that he doesn't swirl for his main damage. It's mainly just like, you know, the plunge. Whereas like Heijo is like swirling damage. But he can be pretty good. You know what I mean? He's not too bad. I think he's definitely like an A tier type character. You could probably put him in S tier too, if you build him well enough. If you have the investment for him. I personally don't have Heijo myself to like rank him. And I haven't like gotten to use him at all really, but from what I've seen, you could either put him in the A tier or the S tier, and that would be like, you know, I'd be fine with it. So for now, I'll put him in A tier. I think that's gonna be a solid spot for him. He has his niche as being like a Nemo, you know, on-field type damage dealer. But he's gonna require a lot of sub DPS damage too. Like you're gonna need a Shangling, you're gonna need a Sing Show, for like, you know, as sub DPS. But yeah, he's very good though. Cole, I'll probably put her in the A tier because she's better than all these other characters automatically because she's Dendro. And there's not many Dendro characters out right now, but Dendro as a typing is super broken. I've already talked about characters that, you know, scale well with Dendro, and, you know, Cole is able to do a lot of Dendro application with her ultimate. You know, her boomerang does a fairly decent damage too. It's just I don't see the reason to run Cole if you have like Dendro Traveler, or even like, you know, when Kusanali drops or Nahida, when she drops, like she's just gonna be a lot better too. So for now, I'll put Cole in the A tier. Moving on, we got Dory. I think Dory is probably gonna be in the A tier or B tier as well. It's hard to say. I haven't really had much use with Dory. I'll probably put her with Kuki Shinobu. Like she's probably in the same boat as Kuki Shinobu. She can heal fairly good. Her healing is on her ultimate though, so that's gonna be one thing. She doesn't heal off her E. Her ultimate is gonna be the main healing. But her attacking is very cool, and what she's able to do. But yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe I put Kuki and Dory in B tier. Maybe, man. Maybe I put them both in B tier. As you guys can see, surprisingly, we only have Alloy in C tier so far. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, man. In terms of travelers, I guess we're ranking like all the travelers. If I was talking like only Dendro Traveler, like honestly S tier. Like if it's only Dendro Traveler, S tier. But if we're talking all the travelers together, probably A tier. It really depends. Like, it's probably A tier, right? Because it really depends on the niche, like the team you're trying to use. Electro Traveler's okay. Anemo Traveler's not really that good. Geo Traveler is, bro, just use Albedo. And then Dendro Traveler is actually very good though. So, you know, there's that. Other than that though, I don't really see them getting anywhere higher unless you're talking about only Dendro Traveler. Then you can argue S tier. I don't know about God tier, but you could argue S tier. But yeah, for now I'd probably put them in A tier. They are better than Cole though on Dendro. But in terms of like all their typings all around, I'd say she's probably just A tier. Yeah, like overall she's A tier. Or male traveler as well. Tignari here. Tignari, I don't know, man. I've not seen much like play with Tignari. I know he's like an on-field aggravate DPS. He can also be a sub DPS for Dendro as well. I feel like he's better than Cole, so because of that I'll probably just give him the S tier. And since there's not a lot of Dendro characters, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he'll probably be a pretty good sub DPS. And yeah, that's where I'll place Tignari in my opinion. Moving on here, we have Candace. Candace is going to go in the A tier. She's going to be a normal attack damage buffer. So she's able to buff your normal attack damage. And she also infuses your normal attacks with hydro damage too. So when she does that, she increases the damage of them. And she's pretty good. She scales off HP. You can run her main DPS as well. Kind of like a bootleg Hu Tao, but on hydro. Yeah, she's pretty good. I would say she's definitely a very solid character. She's not like broken or anything like that, but she has her niche in being a hydro infuser, kind of like Chung Yun, where he's like cryo. But yeah, she's very good. She's very good. Moving on, we have Sino. Sino is gonna go in the S tier. I think Sino on aggravate is in the same boat as like Keqing. Like, he's very good on aggravate. Hyper Bloom is pretty good too. The main thing I have a problem with Sino is that he really relies on the team. He's like Zhao. He really relies on the team. If you do not have a Dendro unit, if you do not have a shielder, if you do not have a healer, any of those three things, then Sino falls apart as a unit. You really need to run him with Dendro. You need to have a shielder or a healer. And with that setup though, he can deal a ton of damage. He is very, very good when you have him in that setup. But without that setup, it's not going to be really too like high of a ranking in my opinion. Yeah, that's going to be Sino right there. Nilou. Nilou has her niche. I will say she's A tier only because you have to run her on a Bloom team. Full Bloom. You can run her with like an Anemo support and she can be very good. I don't know. Maybe I give her that S tier because of that. You can still run her with like an Anemo support, but I think she's very, very niche. I wish she was able to be run with Anemo supports and still have the bountiful cores, but she really is just limited to a Bloom team. But on a Bloom team, she is very good. So we'll give her the S tier though. Like, she can definitely deal really good damage. So yeah, guys, Layla and Kusanali at the time of recording this video are not out in the game, so I won't rank them. But that's the tier list. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed. It's, you know, I know I kind of rambled on here. 50 minutes of recording. Yikes. I'm gonna have to do some editing too, because I know I cut out in a few of the parts, but yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of my tier list. Obviously, this is subjective. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you believe this character's higher? Do you believe the character's lower? Give me your opinions in the comment section below. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And I'm going to see you guys in the next Genshin Impact video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day.